Hey everyone, welcome. As you can see below, we'll get started in about 9 minutes or so, right? So I just like to come in a little bit early, make sure my gear is working, kind of give a little preamble, if you will, the opening act. Every once in a while, I'll actually shoot a video before this and just show the video to make sure that everything is working. But today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue a little bit of my discussion of comic books, all right? So in our last lecture, I spoke a little bit about Vampirella and the comics there. One of the things that makes a comic... Okay, some comic books are valuable. The vast majority of comic books are not valuable. They're garbage, all right? There's a lot of things that make a comic book valuable. And one of the many things is first appearance of something or of someone, okay? So, for example, right here, I have, and let's get that lined up, I have The Amazing Spider-Man number 41. Okay, well, why is this a valuable comic book? And I don't know what it's worth, maybe a couple hundred, I don't know. It's because it's the first appearance of Rhino. Yep, that's Rhino right there. First appearance of Rhino. Therefore, this is a somewhat valuable comic book because of that. All right. Now, another example from the world of Spider-Man is this is The Amazing Spider-Man number 252, which is the first appearance of the black Spider-Man outfit. All right, this is, I forget, something Wars. I forget what this was all about, but this is actually the suit that becomes Venom. All right. So this has some value because it's the first appearance of this particular costume of his that goes on to become, Venom, the big baddie, and so forth. So these are some of the things. I'm going to toss these right down here. Yeah, I'm tossing around $1,000 worth of comic books there, right? These are some of the things that will make a comic book valuable. We're actually going to, well, no, it's not in this class that we talk about it. Other things that make a comic book valuable is, okay, number one issue, sure, of course, if it's a serious series or a big-time hero, something like that. But also the rarity, as in how many are there. Now, one of the reasons, here, I'll show you another one here. Let me see if I can find an example of this. Oh, by the way, this is X-Men number 12 is the first appearance of Juggernaut. So makes it valuable. Okay, so hang on, we'll get there. We'll get there. Let's take this one, for example. This one is Action Comics number 199, all right? It's not a significant issue. It's not anything particularly interesting. It's 199, so I don't know what year it was published. But here's the thing. Old comic books like this were actually printed on highly disposable newsprint. Comic books were not meant to be kept around. They were not meant to be saved. They were not meant to be added to a collection. They were meant to be bought by 11-year-old kids who would wad them up, stick them in their back pocket, go off, read them 20 times, and then just let them fall apart and decompose. So the paper that these old comic books is made from is really fragile stuff. Wasn't meant to be kept around. This one is Eagle Comics. You won't see it listed anywhere, right? It's not a significant issue of any way, shape, or form. It just has a cool cover, but it's barely holding together because the paper is just so old and so low quality. Now, today's comic books, the paper is in much higher quality. Furthermore, today's comic books are kind of meant to be collected, right? So people hold on to them. So this means that, where with the old comic books, there's maybe only 100 or 200 left, if that many. With the new ones, there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of them out there. And so to say, oh, it's a #1 or it's rare or variant cover or sign, it doesn't matter, right? There's just so many of them out there, they're not going to be valuable. Last one I'll show you for this little run is, bear with me. Hold on. Obviously, I'm not well prepared for this. Do I have it? I don't even have it available. Oh, well, I was going to show you an Avenger-esque one. Oh, here we go. This is Journey into Mystery number 101. Journey into Mystery and number 101. Okay, so why is it significant? Well, it's Thor battling. This thing is the, oh gosh, I forgot what they call it, but it's the creature, the metal monster that was in the first Thor and so forth that Loki went off to kill Thor. This comic actually really lines up nicely with that movie. So a lot of the MCU movies and so forth follow particular aspects of comic book storytelling. This one, Journey into Mystery 101, was the inspiration for some of the aspects of Thor and the MCU. So just kind of fun. That's all. All right, now these can go down. All right, we'll get started here in about a minute and a half. Just fun stuff. Hey, now, so we got Brian here. A few years ago, I came across a 1979 Captain America pocket full of color comic books. It's in pretty good condition, but I'm not sure if it's worth much. Pretty cool, though. It is cool, right? I have a ton of a really ton of comic books. They're just cool. They're just fun. However, if you're looking for an investment, no. Comic books not the way to go. We hear stories of people that got, paid for college with a comic book. No. Those are just urban legends and a few outliers, right? But yeah, they're neat. You can look up online to see how much it's worth. Kind of fun to see. Every once in a while, I'll look one of these up, and one that I think, oh, this is going to be worth a lot, it's like $30. And one that I think, oh, this is going to be worthless, it's $800. And it's like, it's kind of hard to tell, but that's what the market does, right? All right. Good. We're getting folks coming in. That is fantastic. We are going to be all set to go. So let's go ahead and do this. We'll get the countdown out of the way and we'll go ahead and get started. Today we are talking about the power of body language and tone, intonation, all right? And to do this, we're actually going to look at a lot of examples, right? And we'll do a few little activities. But to start with, I want to tell you a story. So I'm working at Intel Corporation, and at Intel, we're giving presentations all the time. And I'm giving a presentation about a project that we're working on. We're doing a project update and looking for stakeholder approval to continue on. And we have a new director there. And this guy's kind of a mucky muck. He's kind of high up there and so forth. He's brand new. to our site. He's brand new to our site. He's been with the company for 25 years. And he's in the room, so he's the only one in the room that I don't know. But I'm in my wheelhouse. I'm fine. I'm ignoring him, right? And at one point during the presentation, he leans over to my boss, then Penny Bivens, who maybe you've taken some classes with. She teaches here at Salt Lake Community College now. He leans over to my boss and says, "You know what? I don't know anything about this project. I'm not even sure I understand everything, but he's selling it. I'm sold. He really knows how to present a project update." Now, I want you to think about that as we talk about things going forward here, as we talk about body language and tone and so forth, because remember, he's saying, I don't know what the project's about. I don't understand the details. I'm too far away from it. I'm the new guy in here, but I'm ready to sign off. What was it that did that? And so we're going to explore that as we go forward. So let's come on over here. That's not what I want right now. It's going to be what we do here pretty soon, though. Body language and verbal tone. Communicating feeling and attitudes without words. All right, so let's explore this. The first thing I want to do is I am going to play an audio clip, okay? I'm going to play an audio clip. Don't worry, it's in English. Nothing tricky or fancy or anything. And after the audio clip, I'm going to ask a few questions, okay? So with that, my mic will be turned off. We'll set up the audio clip and we'll be all set. So I'm going to come on over here.
I am Hermaeus Mora. I am the guardian of the unseen and knower of the unknown. I have been watching you, mortal. Most impressive. Your continuing aid to Septimus renders him increasingly obsolete. He has served me well, but his time is nearing its end. Once that infernal lockbox is opened, he will have exhausted his usefulness to me. When that time comes, you shall take his place as my emissary. What say you?
Okay, let's go ahead and set everything back up here. All right, so be 100% honest. You know you're going to get these points down here. I don't care what you say. Be 100% honest. Who here totally zoned out? I mean, you stopped listening, you started multitasking, you got distracted by something else. Who is like, I don't know anything about what was said? Yeah, Drew, yeah, totally, right? Yeah, this is Skyrim. You're absolutely right. Who here who has not played Skyrim, right? So Drew, you don't count. Who here, based on what you just heard, can tell me everything that just happened, right? Go ahead and chime in. Let me know. So, Brooke, you phased out. Yeah. Who wouldn't? We're going to talk about that, right? So, thank you, Brooke. Yeah. So you zoned out. Who zoned out? Who can tell me what it's about? Okay. Aaron says, I didn't zone out, but I have no idea what this is about. Really good. right? Really good. Jacob, not me. Okay, so let me ask you this. Now Matt says, I kind of couldn't discern the words halfway through. I have no idea what was going on, says Brian. Mwah. Okay, guys, this is normal, right? Here's the thing. Tell me in the comments there, tell me, what is it that made it difficult to follow? It's English. It's English. You guys totally rock in English. So what made this so difficult to follow? All right. So for this one, I am going to go ahead and go to our empty puppy cam. I got to bring my puppies up. They won't follow me up here anymore. But let me know what made it so difficult for you to follow. And we'll come over here. Okay, I know that wasn't much time, but you guys are totally rocking this. All right, let's take a look at this, right? I like what Aaron said, by the way. Aaron said, some dude using some other dude, that other dude is almost no longer useful and so forth. I love it. Okay, why was it so hard to understand, right? Well, Colton says monotone and slow. Okay, those are two things, and you're dead on right. Voice intonation, when voice goes up and down, the intonation communicates a ton. However, if you speak in a monotone voice or in a low, and somebody points this out, slow monotone voice, it suddenly becomes much more difficult to understand or difficult to stay focused, right? Since his voice was so low and slow, kind of mumbled, Anastasia says, yes, low voices actually lull us into more of a sleep than higher voices, right? And especially monotone. Full monotone, the tone of his voice made it hard to understand. Dull. Brooke, yes, dull, right? It's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't frankly care what's going on. I don't know what's in it for me. Dull. Nice. The way he was speaking made it confusing. Yeah, he's kind of using this high English crap, right? And trying to sound all godlike and sinister doesn't help. Let's see. Now, Riley picks up on a key thing. No context. No context. I am always selling context. Not because, you don't get it. It's because it's a hard concept to wrap our minds around, and yet it's so powerful. Lacking context for what's going on makes it more or less impossible to understand. Whereas if we just had some context, all of a sudden it'd have a lot more meaning. Actually, he mumbled, gave no real tone to his voice, right? And that's Bryce. Thank you, Bryce. Aaron, lacking the context, yes, of the present and prior made it difficult. Totally. Okay. Now we're going to do another one. And don't worry, you're going to get the points here. So now we're going to do another. Now I'm going to show you a video, and this one is in German. So now I just want you to wrap your mind around this for a moment, all right? You listened to something in English and had a hard time understanding it. You're now going to watch something in German and you're going to understand it. Check this out. That's the wrong one. Where's my... Here it is. Oh, I lost it again. Let's reduce this. Don't worry, folks. We'll get there. Where does it keep going? Where's my German stuff? Oh, it's hidden way low, way low. I apologize, guys. I'm going to pull it up here. Get it here. Get a new one of these thingies. And now we'll watch it.
Dem Feind gelungen, die Front in breiter Formation zu durchbrechen. Im Süden hat der Gegner Zossen genommen und stößt auf Stahnsdorf vor. Der Feind operiert jetzt am nördlichen Stadtrand zwischen Frohnau und Pankow und im Osten ist der Feind bis zur Linie Lichtenberg-Marsdorf-Karlshorst gelangt.
Mit dem Angriff Steiners wird das alles in Ordnung kommen.
Now, real quick, and hopefully you can hear me okay. I think you can. Just somebody type in real quick, what's happening? What's happening here? And furthermore, tell me, how does this guy feel about what's about to go, what they're talking about? So let me back up just a little bit. Tell me what is happening and how do people feel about what's going on?
Und im Osten ist der Feind bis zur Linie Lichtenberg-Marsdorf-Karlshorst gelangt.
Mit dem Angriff Steiners wird das alles in Ordnung kommen.
Mein Führer, Steiner konnte nicht genügend Kräfte für einen Angriff massieren. Der Angriff Steiner ist nicht erfolgt.
So tell me, what's happening? What's happening here? And how do people feel? Okay, give me some thoughts. So Aaron says, a German general explaining a World War II troop situation to Hitler, and they're all very tense. Exactly. Exactly. And Aaron, you don't speak German? Yeah, the Nazis. Exactly. Right? This is the Nazis. They're explaining some plans and some troop situation, and everybody is ready to poop bricks, right? Okay, let's continue on. Very good. Colton, you're right.
Es bleiben im Raum Keitel, Jodl, Krebs und Butter.
Tense. Definitely tense, Drew.
Das war ein Befehl! Der Angriff Steiners war ein Befehl!
How does he feel about the news that has just been delivered to him? Right? We've got troop situation being explained. Everybody is tense as all get out, right? And I don't think it's any secret to say that he is less than pleased with the situation, right? And check this out. Just one more moment.
Wer sind Sie? Das hier ist Wagen! Sie mein Befehl zu widersetzen! So weit ist das also gekommen.
There's no dialogue in this part of the scene. No dialogue at all. And you know exactly how they feel. You know exactly how they feel. So, folks, I really want you, and we're gonna come back here. Okay, we're back. I really want you to embrace something for a moment, all right? And I mean, we're gonna do the light bulb one for this. I want you to embrace this idea. You listened to something in English and had a difficult time understanding it. You watched and listened to something in German with context, and you understood every moment. Every moment. So that is, to me, extraordinary. It's extraordinary to me how little the meaning of the word communicates, right? It's context, it's body language, it's tone that communicates, not the meaning of the word. Now, because you guys have been totally cool, right? Hang on. We're going this direction, right? We are doing this. I saw some people talk, supporting what others said, and I saw a couple of real world examples. So you know what that means. Right off, the timestamp is going to be 8:47. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to email me your timestamp of 8:47, and we'll take good care of you because you're taking good care of me. All right, so let's come back to this. Highlighter, all right. And I'm sorry that didn't go as smoothly as we would have liked. My tech wasn't set up quite the way I thought it would be. All right, check this out. This is from a couple of studies that have been done. When it comes to communicating emotion, 7% of the message pertaining to the feelings and attitudes is in the word. Just 7% of what we're communicating is in the meaning of the word, whereas 38% of the message is in the tone, the way we say it, the intonations, right? The paralinguistic. Whereas 55% of the message is in facial expression, all right? Now, this is interesting to me because I'm a fan of Mythbusters, Adam Savage, and so forth, and I've always known this, but he said at one time that really communicated it well. He said, listen, when I'm doing something on TV, you have to sell it hard. You have to, increase your facial expressions. You have to increase your intonation because you have to reach through the medium of TV. And the real meaning and the real engaging aspect of video is not in the words that you choose. It's in your paralinguistic, the tonality you use, and facial expressions. So I do the same thing, right? Now, yeah, I'm normally this sort of hyper, but I'm pushing it. I'm selling it because it's my job to try to be engaging for you and to communicate through body language and tone. And so when I was presenting at Intel, the project update, the guy was saying, hey, listen, I don't understand the project. I don't understand what he's talking about. I'm not close enough to it. I'm brand new here. In other words, the meaning of his words were not what was selling, him. What was selling him was my delivery, my body language, my posture, my tonality, my confidence. Now, just so you know, I'm a big fan of fake it till you make it. And that includes confidence, all right? You gotta really believe in yourself, even when you don't. Because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else in the room will, all right? You gotta trick yourself before you can trick the others. It's not the right phrase, but you know what I mean. Okay, let's continue on. Check this out, body language. I mean, we're talking about the obvious. What do I mean by the obvious? Okay, look. If you're about to interview somebody for a job, you don't want to interview that person. They don't want to be there. The last thing you want is this person on your team. They don't want to be there. Their mind is somewhere else. they're dark, they're disgruntled. You don't want them. This person is bored. You know they're bored. I can see they're bored. This person is kind of daydreaming a little bit. This person is probably more of a brown noser. Obviously, the lesson of this picture is, oh, hey, you want to interview and hire that person. Not me. I probably want to interview and hire that person personally, right? But the point is, you can see a lot happening in the body language here. Now, there's another study that's been done in body language by Amy Cuddy of Harvard University, okay? Do yourself a favor and later on Google Amy Cuddy TED Talk, and she talks about high power and low power body language, all right? Let's take a look at these for a moment, right? These up here, these here are considered high power poses, whereas these here are low power poses. Take a look at them for a moment and tell me what makes these high power and what makes these low power. When you look at these people, what comes to mind? And any and all answers in here are correct, right? Because it's what your impression is. So tell me, what's making the high power people high power, and what's making the low power people low power? So Aaron says confidence, yeah, versus I really don't care, says Lorena. Yeah, I see some real confidence in here. And we're going to talk about why they're confident. Riley says the people on the top are taking up more space, literally. Yes, right? They're all good observations. But these folks are saying, I'm large and in charge. I am here. I am taking up space. You're going to pay attention to me. Whereas the people on the bottom are trying to take up as little space. They want to disappear, right? Very good. Let's see. Ditto Lorena, excellent. High power is confident. Low power, there's some lazy, like they're disengaged. I like it, right? High power is open and low power is closed. Very good. And we're going to talk about why open is high power while this is low power. Okay, shoulders up, open up your chest, exposing yourself to danger. Okay, this is good. Drew knows his stuff on this. It's an interesting thing that these open poses here are literally exposing their soft, wide underbelly, manner of speaking, right? They're exposing their vital organs to be eviscerated. Well, now, why is exposing our vital organs to potential evisceration a show of confidence? Because it's saying, listen, I'm so confident, I'm so in charge that I can expose myself to danger and I have zero worry and concern because it's all about me. Whereas these folks down below, they're covering their vital organs and so forth because they have less confidence in the room, right? Shoulders up, confident, small, slouched, right? Close off your chest, making yourself smaller. Absolutely, absolutely. So you're getting it. Now, here's the thing, though, guys, about body language. We don't really see our body language, our own, right? And so oftentimes we don't really understand, know, or appreciate the vibe that we're giving off. It's always interesting. Okay, many, many years ago, many years ago. I'm trying to improve my interviewing skills. So I attend this workshop where they have a mock interview and they videotape me during the mock interview. And then afterwards, we analyze the videotape. It is freaking revelatory because my body language did not say confident. It did not say I feel competent in my abilities. And yet, I wasn't thinking about that at all. During the interview, this mock interview, all I was thinking about is how to answer the question. What does the person want to hear? I was thinking about the message. But my body language almost said, ignore the message. This guy, right? And so it's actually somewhat challenging to be aware of your body language. Now, one of the things that Amy Cuddy recommends is practice. I know it sounds weird, but she says, listen, practice in front of a mirror, right? Videotape yourself. Don't worry, nobody else is in the room. You're making a fool of yourself. It's cool. Nobody else is there. Practice in front of a mirror. Videotape yourself. Give a little presentation on your phone. Videotape yourself giving a little presentation, and then watch it afterwards to analyze your body language. I know it sounds weird, and I know you're probably not going to do it because that's kind of an outside your comfort zone thing. But if you do, I promise you're going to discover some new things. You're going to discover where your body language is strong and where it's weak. And this is something that can mean a lot in your professional career, okay? I'm going to just go ahead and say, in my career, I have hired people that I probably should not have hired because they just seduced me with their body language and tone and facial expressions. And I've also almost passed up people who turned out to be really awesome, who in their first interview, I'm like, wow, you have the personality of a stone, right? Because their body language and tone. Luckily, I stuck with that person, right? So it's powerful. It's meaningful. It's something I invite you to explore deeply. You're in school to get better at doing things. This will go a long way. Okay, we answered this. Now, there's a lot more that goes into tone. We're not going to go deep into these, all right? We're just going to touch upon some of them. You know, your voice, the vernacular that you use, what colloquial terms. So, for instance, when I speak with you, I deliberately try to use a blend of some fairly sophisticated vocabulary because I want to treat you with respect, the respect that you're due. And I feel that by talking down and, say, limiting my vocabulary, my range would be talking down to you. And I don't want to do that. But I also throw in a lot of colloquial. You've noticed this, right? Crapping bricks, that sort of thing. It's my way of kind of reducing the stress and anxiety of what would be a lecture, right? I don't know if it works, but it's what I do. Word choice, formality. To what degree is formality? Body language and tone includes what we wear, guys, right? Hey, Lorraine is on board with Riley there, which reminds me, bam, bam, we got a couple more of those. So what we dress, how we dress, speaks in part to our body language and tone. My background here is part of body language and tone because our dress is part of our tone. Sentence construction, sentence variety, use of figures of speech, contractions, literary devices, and so forth. All these things go into tone. Okay, so just something to explore. Now, I want to explore one more thing when it comes to body language, tone, and so on and so forth. And to do this, I want to talk a little bit about bias in our language, more specifically, implicit bias. Now, let me explain implicit bias. And I'll show you by using a literary device, which is tone, right? I'm going to tell you a riddle, right? Here's a riddle. So one day, this man and his son, they decide they're going to go fishing, right? Father and son going fishing, what could be better? So they load up in the car, head out, and on the way to their favorite fishing hole, they get into a horrible car accident. And the father is killed immediately, killed on impact. And the son is in horrible critical condition. And so Life Flight comes in, they pick up the son, Life Flight him out to one trauma center, wheel him right into the operating room, and the doctor comes in with the team. Doctor looks over at the boy and says, "Hold on, I can't operate on this patient. This is my son." So the riddle is, how is this patient the doctor's son? Because remember, the father died in the accident. What do you think? Let's go ahead and we'll do a non-existent puppy cam. And just so you know, we've got the winner. Liz. The doctor's the mother. Now, I want to point something out here. This is what is called implicit bias. Implicit bias is not explicit bias. So, for example, explicit bias is when I have a bias that I know all about. I'm very open about it, or maybe I'm not open about it, right? So I'll tell you, I'll share with you. I have an explicit bias toward strong women. I really like strong women. And I could explain and so on and so forth. But if you met my wife, you would know I have a thing for strong women. If you met my business partner, she's a strong woman. If you met my daughter, she's becoming a strong woman. I gravitate toward that energy because we freaking need more of that energy. I'm not going to go on and on. Ask me sometime. I'll tell you more about it. I'm also highly biased toward female doctors. I can tell you more about that if you choose. These are explicit bias. I have an explicit bias toward female doctors. An implicit bias is a bias that we're not even aware that we have. And this riddle is a great way of kind of exposing an implicit bias. Because many of us have a bias in our head that, well, obviously the emergency room doctor going in to operate is a dude. That's the image we have in our head when we think medical doctor or pilot or something like that. There are some professions in our head that the moment I say pilot, many of us see an old white male, right? We don't realize that you can be a young Muslim female pilot because that's just not our world form. It's not that we're against young Muslim female pilots, not at all. It's just that's not where our head went when we said, well, hold on, the father died, right? So yeah, Drew, the doctor is the mom. So this is an important thing to understand because it affects how we communicate, and it affects how we think, and it affects how we treat one another. So in closing, what I'd like to, yes, stereotyping, Lorena, but we're not aware we do it. We're not aware that we do it, all right? So, and By the way, just real quick, and then I'll get back to this. I promise. Short. I do it. First day of class, right? First day of class, when we're all in the room, I'll look around the room and I'll think, oh, slacker. Oh, up and comer. Oh, okay, here just because parents said so. Oh, here to make something of yourself. All because of body language and tone and dress and whether they're slouching in the seat and so on and so forth. But, folks, and I'm telling you right now, I am almost always wrong. And I love being wrong. I mean that. I love being wrong. I love finding out that slacker over there who's slouching in the seat and hardly paying attention is actually one of my best students. And I don't like being wrong when I find out that this one here who made such a good first impression ends up being a little bit of a slouch. That breaks my heart. But I'm almost always wrong when I stereotype. We talked about that, right? Okay. The pilots at the school I go to are mostly women. Cool. Very cool. All right, so let's come back over here. I invite you, and it's really a lot of fun because it exposes your implicit biases. I invite you to go explore sometime the implicit bias test at Harvard University. Okay? Just Google implicit bias Harvard test. It'll be the first thing that comes up. And what it does is it will measure your implicit bias toward or against any number of groups. Okay? So, for example, I have done the implicit bias test on what is my implicit bias toward different races, different genders, LGBTQ, obesity. I've done this test on a whole bunch. And I have learned a lot about myself and where I have an implicit bias, one that I did not know about, and where I don't have one. Okay? Really, really fascinating. So if you're interested in a little bit of self-exploration and self-discovery, which is always a little bit painful, I know, but if you're interested in that, I really invite you to check that out, okay? So, folks, that is it today. That's everything we've got. Let's see, what have we done? Let's come back over here. We have a whole bunch of attends and some others. Remember, you want to send me your, you want to send me your timestamp, right? Don't forget, it doesn't come up for there. Or is it? No, it doesn't come up for there. It only comes up there. There it is. Don't forget to send me your timestamp email, and I'll take good care of you. As always, I'm going to stick around a while if you have any questions or comments or anything like that. Or if you want to set up a Zoom meeting and talk, I'm available. And I'll be getting some instructional videos out to you here today for the rest of this week and next week, setting up for our teams. If you have somebody with whom you would like to work on a team, let me know today. I'm setting up teams here fairly soon. So as you've looked at this list of folks chiming in, you might want to send them a quick text through remind.com or ask them, hey, or an email, do you want to work on a team together? Let me know in the next couple hours and I'll hook you guys up. Okay? All right. You're good, folks. Have a fantastic day and we'll talk to you again next week.